How would you like to learn the secrets of two Karma Club Award winners and how they have built successful online businesses from almost nowhere to now running multiple 7 and 8 figure businesses by following the simple fundamentals of life? And let's see how they have used the powerful funnel systems, processes, automation, and social media to help their business grow at a different pace. Let's dive into their journey to grasp the strategy, mindset, action plan of how they have done it from almost nowhere to the way up to 7 figures. We are going to uncover and pick their brains of the top performing entrepreneurs on this show, how they have done it and how you can do it too. You are listening to the Nikhil Sai, the host, and welcome to the Nikhil Sai Show. What's going on? What's going on, everyone who's actually listening to this podcast right now? First of all, guys, welcome to the Nikhil Sai Show, which is hosted by me, the Nikhil Sai. And guess what's going on today? We are back with another amazing two comma club interview. This is going to be pretty crazy. Just in case if you're an agency, if you're a coach, consultant who's basically packaging high ticket programs and trying to scale up your business is going to be a golden episode you're going to be listening so far. So make sure to pay attention for this specific podcast because today we have a 7 figure agency coach who has already helped over 7 people hit 7 figures in his program, and this is going to be an amazing journey. So today we are going to cover different stuff, especially about as an agency how you can scale up, unlock your mindset of actually having the transition from low ticket to high ticket and whatnot. So guys, let's not actually waste any time and actually let's welcome Mark Hager, CEO at mentorrupted.com. Hey
Hey,
Mark.
how you doing?
We are doing absolutely great, brother. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yep, absolutely, brother. So, Mark, before we get started and rock into the all the agency questions and how to build a successful business and all of that good stuff, we would love to hear like a quick backstory, like how did all of this craziness start? Where did you come from? How did you got into agency coaching business?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. But
Mm-hmm.
so I started way as an entrepreneur. I started actually in e-commerce, and um, I started my first T-shirt brand many years ago, and I did multiple millions with that brand, and I ended up selling it. But while I had that
Mm-hmm.
that T-shirt brand, I had all these employees. And at that time, like before that, I was a prison guard. So um,
Mm.
one of my goals was to make $1 million. That was my first goal. And I did it with my t-shirt brand. And when I had achieved those goals, once I had some success, it was like an urge for me to help other people. And I tried to help my employees. I tried to help my friends and family, and none of them wanted any of my information. They just wanted, like my employees, they just wanted to get a paycheck. They wanted to come into work. They didn't, even though they
Yeah.
saw what we were doing, I'm like, I can teach you to do the same thing. Like if, because they became friends to me. They weren't just employees after, years of working with
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was like, one day I'm going to help people that want the actual help. And, even my brother didn't want the help back then. He was younger. So I put that off and I kept running my business. And a couple years later, I ended up selling that company, and I took about a year off, and
Hmm.
I pretty much retired because I kept my expenses low, and I was kind of getting depressed at the time because I didn't have any goals or anything I was working towards. I feel like I always need something to try to achieve, or I had money and I had time, but I had hobbies, but it wasn't really fulfilling to me. I was like, I bought cars, I bought bikes. So I decided to launch Mentorrupted at that time, about a year later, and I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
help people that wanted the actual help. And at that time, I was actually coaching e-commerce, and I'd help many people actually do very well, hit 7 figures with e-com. And
Wow.
I got to the point where um, I couldn't scale anymore. I only had so much time that I could coach, right? Unless I did
Hmm.
group coaching. So I had this one student that actually had me. When I was coaching him, I was like, "Hey, do this," and we found a winner twice for this guy. The first time,
Hmm.
and he never missed a meeting, but the first time we found a winner, he missed a whole week of calls, which I'm telling him what to do. I'm like, hey, do this. And he didn't do that. And he missed the calls for a week. And that product died out. And about a month later, I found another winner for him. We got it going. And he, over the weekend, I said, do this. And he did the opposite for whatever reason. And at that point, I
Mm.
was like, I wish I had control of his account. And instead of just coaching him over, hey, do this, do that. And so I ended up launching my agency at that time. So, because I had these students that I'd been teaching my strategies to, and a lot of them hadn't found winners yet. But they knew my strategy. So they were in the testing phase. And I had this idea like, hey, what if I employed these people to take my strategies and do it for clients? So that's when we launched the agency. And in the
Mm-hmm.
first 9 months, we did $1 million. And then it went on to do
Wow.
about $2.5 million up to this point. And so while I had the agency, I also had my coaching. So I had a handful of students that I was coaching that wanted me to show them what I was doing with my agency. So I started to coach
Mm.
them, and now I've had 7 of them, which you mentioned at the beginning. And from zero, these guys went from zero, no agency at all, to 7 figures. And
That's a
yeah,
dramatic transformation,
well,
surely.
it's literally just a process. It's the same. I will tell you. Oh, you'll probably have these questions later, but I would say it's
Uh-huh.
probably 80 to 90% mindset with an entrepreneur, and 10 to 20% of, hey, do this. You know, uh,
Yeah.
hire this person, do all that, the everyday stuff.
The
But
action plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
the action plan. But the majority of it is mindset with most people.
True, true, and I believe, Mark, like you're playing a key role, with the entrepreneurs. You're kind of coaching them into to evolve them into a different person, and really appreciate you for making this type of impact. And so let's start with the agency question box. It would be pretty interesting to answer, brother. One of the hardest things as an agency to ever imagine is, you just mentioned, like, you help people to go from 0 to 7 figures, which is much
Hmm.
harder, right? So going from 6 figures to 7 figures is easy because you already kind of sorted the way out, like sorted your offers or something like that, right? So the
Hmm.
one of the hardest things as an agency you go through is actually getting that first few clients, because you have zero case studies, zero reputation, zero testimonials, and zero results, right? So if someone is actually starting an agency today with zero experience and zero case studies, so how can they actually get a bunch of clients initially?
So even I did this at the beginning. Um, when I started out coaching, I started out lower. I'm not saying that's the best way,
Hmm.
but if you don't have a lot of results, you can give away for free if you want. I don't know if I'd recommend that, but by lower, like if the market's at 2K a month or 5K a month, and you're doing it for 1,000, and you don't have the results, then you can get people in so that you can start working on focusing on getting those results for those people. And once you
Hmm.
start producing and showing results, then you can start increasing your price over time. And that's really how I would recommend if you're brand new and didn't have any results yet. Um,
Yep.
or there's
Hmm.
another way, you can actually outsource it. So you don't have to actually be the master at, let's say, Facebook ads and ecom or whatever it is that you're wanting to start. You could actually, for instance, I have students that get clients from other people, so they have an agency and they white label it with them. So they're
Wow.
just they have the skills, but that person doesn't. So they just take their audience and bring the clients over there.
I think that's an interesting way, like kind of directly hacking into the authority, like
Hmm.
partner with someone else, get all of their cases and testimonials white labeled.
Yeah.
You take that off right initially to get that rocket push, right?
Yep.
Wow, Mark, appreciate that. That's a really good golden nugget for especially people who are watching this. And let's get to the next question, brother. I mean, one of the things you've been aggressively going around, like scaling so fast for your students, is actually leveraging advertising, because organically you can just reach up to so many people, right? So we
Hmm.
would love to hear on from your end, like how to actually leverage Facebook ads to scale up as an agency.
Yeah. So the two main ways with Facebook ads, I would start out with Facebook messages, running ads for
Mm-hmm.
messages. put your salespeople in the messenger, and it depends on your price. If you're higher ticket, then you're definitely going to want to get them over onto a phone call. Here recently, we've really been focusing on book a call booking funnel, and it is doing
Mm-hmm.
really, really well. The one student that I have mainly focused on that is doing about 20 to 28,000 a day in new sales off of a
Mm-hmm.
call booking funnel. But we've done 35,000 record days, students and me. Our record is 35,000 in one day off of messenger ads.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are the two main things. If I was, and it, and if you're brand new and you don't have a big budget and you're wanting to start out, what I would do is start out with $100 a day at minimum, um,
Mm-hmm.
for either one. And once you start getting sales, and keep that consistent every day, $100. So that's 3,000 a month. And once you get your first sale, should take you about a week or two. If you have a good salesperson, should actually be less than that. Once you get
Mm-hmm.
those first sales, reinvest that profit back into scaling your ads, and keep growing that. That's what I would do with the Facebook ads.
Wow, perfect, Mark. Appreciate you giving like a very clear overview of how actually we can leverage messenger ads and call booking funnels to get a qualified booked appointment with it. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the key problems as an agency is most people really, especially talking about advertising, they kind of struggle, right? They kind of really struggle to scale up because they are low ticket. They don't have enough budget. I mean, they cannot afford to pay $3,000 a month even to start off advertising, right? So
Mhm.
for that reason, like they really need to start first of all charging high ticket so that they can afford to pay high ticket to acquire a client.
Yeah.
So a lot of mindset issues, once again, 90% mindset. So we would love to hear
Yes.
from you, like how to actually charge high ticket sale, like actually
Yeah.
as an agency, how to package that offer, because most people be like, hey, I'm building a website, you could get the same website on Fiverr for $120, why would you come to
Yeah.
me and pay $10,000 for this? So how can an entrepreneur get out of that mindset?
Well, the more results you have, the more you should charge. But one of the best ways to increase your price is to provide more value.
Mm-hmm.
So like I like to think of it as amusement park. So when you're at the amusement park, there's always that fast lane where you can pay extra to cut in line,
Hmm.
right? To go right up
Yeah.
front. Well, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people with a lot of money that like to get in the fast lane. And how we do it is we offer, so at the lower ticket, uh, we do it with ecom. We're testing to try to find winners for people. Well, we can go and jump and offer them a higher ticket price where they can jump in line and already buy a store that's already making sales. So they
Mm-hmm.
can we could buy it from our clients. There's different ways that we can get stores that are already making a decent amount. Like for instance, had a student sell a $25,000 package, but the store was already making about $1,000 a day. So
Wow.
is that like 30 grand, something like that? Yeah, 30 grand a month
Mm-hmm.
on average starting out. So that, see, they, instead of trying to find a winner cheaper, cost per monthly is lower, or you can just jump in a line and go and acquire a store that's, so how to increase prices, get really good at what you do, or provide more value, and shorten the success, from A to Z. If you can do that, people will pay for that shortcut.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the time shrink is where the magic power is, because they just be like, I can get you faster results. They're happy to pay higher price because of the speed and momentum you're going to be creating in the business.
I mean, that's the
Appreciate that,
same.
brother.
That's the same with the coaching too. You could
Mm-hmm.
try to figure it out yourself, or you can pay somebody that can give you exact roadmap, and it's a shortcut. It's free. You can go watch YouTube videos all day long, but do you know how to put it all information together, or can you just pay somebody that can say, "Hey, this is what's worked for me and other people. Here's what you do." So, all right. Sorry
Yeah,
about
I
that.
also
Just want
give
to
the
let you know.
support. Yeah, also kind of give support back and
Yeah.
make the momentum and provide that support they need. Awesome, brother. Let's get to the next question. We would love to hear, I mean, running a marketing agency is not as easy as it sounds, right? Like especially as a done for you agency, right? You have a lot of moving pieces, like clients, revisions, timelines, project management, all of that stuff, right? So I would love to hear more about, like, you have done over $2.5 million till date as an agency, despite of coaching. So we'd love to hear, how does that look like for you to actually running a successful marketing agency? What kind of moving pieces,
doesn't
and how do you
it
handle
doesn't
them?
take much time. So I'm a very simple person. So the same thing I do with my students. If let's say you're doing 100,000, 200,000 a month, and you're
Mm-hmm.
50%, right, margin, like
Mm-hmm.
you're 50% of
Mm-hmm.
its expenses, and the majority of those expenses are going to be employees. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing that, you're spending that much on employees, you shouldn't really, as an owner, shouldn't be doing a whole lot. So there's mainly two departments in an agency: sales department and the agency side, which is the busy work for their clients. And how I like to structure it is at least 2 meetings a week for each department. So two
Mm-hmm.
half-hour sessions a week for each one. I'm not saying that you can't do more, but that's how I like to do it. I don't like to work a whole lot, especially as I have more and more employees. I want to do less work because I have the budget to pay people to do more. So if I find myself doing busy work, I'm looking to have somebody else hire somebody for that to get it off of my plate because I don't want to do that. So
Master delegation. Wow.
yeah, I really just, I mean, it just makes sense to me. If you're making that much money, what's another 500, 1,000, or 2,000 or 5,000 a month to give you your time back? So yeah,
Yeah. Wow, I think that really kind of opens up a lot of agency owners who kind of stick to their own skill sets. Like, I can do this better than anyone else, and I want to continue doing this. I mean, I think they should get rid of that emotion and just try to delegate more and build more systemized processes, brother. That's pretty interesting. I
yeah,
mean, that's pretty interesting. Like, you manage like 2 calls, like 1 hour every week for agency, and still managing the scale. That's very, very amazing, brother. So, I mean, let's get to the next question, Mark, real quick. No matter what you're doing, right, especially as an agency, like sometimes you might get into situations where you feel a little burnout because of clients, bombarding you and claiming things and making you sound crazy because of the time constraints and all of that stuff, right? So how do you avoid this type of burnout, as you're actually running a successful agency? And
same thing I was just saying. To hire more people to get that off of your plate, you shouldn't be dealing with the clients. As the owner, as you hit a certain amount. So one thing I will tell you is because I coach a handful of people in agencies now. People get stuck at 20K doing everything themselves, and they get
yeah.
lost. About 20K is a limit. They're getting sales
Mhm.
and they're dealing with the busy work. To avoid burnout, though, is to actually hire people. Structure, like, how can you get burnout on 4 meetings a week for a half hour? So
It's hard.
yeah, if you get burnout on that, then it's probably not the right business for you.
You should doing something else. Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely do something else. But just look for automation, create systems and processes. So when there's problems that happen, I like to create, okay, this happened. So in the future, from now on, you guys will do this. This is what you do when this happens. And it creates a
Hmm.
process so that it no longer is a problem. They know how to solve it. And as you create, technically policies for your business. So as you create those, you're going to have less issues come to you. And actually, one of the rules I create is um, if there's a problem, if the employee should try to solve it first, and if they can't solve it, they should go to another employee that they think can help them, usually like a manager. And then if they
Mm-hmm.
can't solve it, then they bring it to me. So
So there is like
a system
steps.
process.
No
Yeah.
one can just kind of come and say, hey, Instagram is not logging in, can you give me a password?
Yeah. I'm going to say,
Like, no, you
well,
shouldn't be
what did
asking
you
me.
do to fix it? And who else did you ask to help you?
Yeah, I think that's pretty amazing. So kind of like from a bird's eye view, like as an agency, do you suggest to delegate like even sales and fulfillment the entire part and just have an
The whole thing.
overview of like management?
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yeah. I don't want to do anything. I'm the owner.
wow, this is a much abundant mindset. I mean, we see a lot of people be like, hey, focus on sales, fulfillment, you can figure out. Now you're like, just delegate everything and just let that ball roll, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, it's better to make 50% on something you never handle or almost do very small work and you can continue building something else while you're running an agency.
it really depends on how big you want to go. If you're fine at 20K a month, then you can do it all. But if you're trying to go to, I'm working on 2 students right now going to $1 million a month. And there's no way that they could be doing everything. Right? Matter of fact, they need to be doing less so that they can look at the vision where they're trying to go. And so,
Wow.
like when I have a meeting with them, in between, I have 2 meetings a week. I'll meet with them. I'll say, hey, do this, this, and this. They'll write it down. And then what they do after the meeting is they send it off to their team. They don't do it.
Wow. But
That's
yeah,
not me.
like that's very inspiring. Like $1 million a month as an agency, like it's kind of very, very, very impressive numbers, I believe, right?
We're not there
Because most
yet, but we're
agencies are
working
kind of
on
stuck.
it. We're very,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very close. Yeah.
That's amazing, Mark. Appreciate that, brother. And also, let's get into some tech stack. Like you are delegating so much, you're managing most of your teams, and you have like clear systems and processes. It looks like very organized. So, I would love to hear what kind of tools do you use to actually manage your projects and clients for productivity.
Mm. I don't remember this question here. So tools that I use to manage projects, clients for productivity. I'll tell you what, I don't really do all that. My employees would do that, so they would find out what they would use, and I'm okay with them using whatever. But me personally, I actually keep things very very simple. I try to use. I actually told somebody this the other day, and they thought I was crazy. I'm like, I think that's why I'm successful is because I try not to use a lot of tools. I try to keep it very very simple. I use pretty much Skype, which is most people don't use, and I use Voxer. But that's really the only two tools I use. I don't want have to do all this stuff. It gets to be confusing for me. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I appreciate you actually mentioning. So simplicity is the key to kind of have that time back. So you have like the whole brain juice going around your vision of what you're trying to build.
Hmm.
That's pretty amazing. Appreciate that, Mark. Let's get to the next question. We would love to hear more about like your daily routine. What kind of routines do you follow in your
Yeah.
in your day to day life?
Yeah. So I focus on three things: health, wealth, and happiness. Those are most important for me every day. So I wake up. I'm focused on the health, and then a little bit of business. So I'll check my Voxer in the morning, and then if there's anything that I need to deal with, and then the rest of the day, I'm dealing with my happiness part, which is spending time with family and friends, doing what I love, whatever that is, going on my boat, um, spending time with my kids, my wife, going for a walk, which is I'm just making sure that those three categories are covered, and then at nighttime, after everybody goes to bed, I stay up a little later and I
Mm-hmm.
work on my wealth, my hustle every day. That's 7 days a week, by the way. I don't I don't see why people want to take the weekends off from their goals. Like health, wealth, and happiness, that should be done every single day in my mind.
Wow,
So,
you built a business around which kind of makes, you cover like all of your own fulfillment every day and gives you
mhm.
the prosperity you actually deserve. That's amazing, brother. I think that's a very sick routine, especially for people who kind of got their time back and kind of enjoying the fruits of what you're trying to build here. That's amazing, brother. So, Mark, if there is one suggestion you could give to a 20-year-old yourself or someone who's just getting started in business, what
Mhm.
that suggestion would look like.
So I would suggest to myself if I was 20. Okay, so I would
Mm-hmm.
tell myself to dream bigger. And because my first goal was $1 million, well, I've been doing pretty much $1 million plus a year, and like it's nothing now. At this point, it's like nothing. It's very easy to hit that goal, but you get comfortable. So to dream bigger, and then to take action faster. So I find that myself and other people, they always want to add time in between a decision. So as soon as you add time, the less likely it is you'll actually take the action, because your brain will
Yeah.
start talking you out of that decision that you said, okay, I want to do this, but I'll do it next week or tomorrow. Well, by the time that
Hmm.
happens, you find a million reasons why you shouldn't do it. So that's what I would say is dream bigger and to take action faster.
Wow, those are amazing suggestions. Appreciate you mentioning them, Mark. Let's get
Mhm.
to the next question. Your life's biggest achievement so far and any next bigger goals.
So at this point, I would have to say helping my students hit $1 million plus and changing their life. Like I just had one of my students actually, it's right here. I can't see it.
Yeah.
Anatoly, he's actually hit two Comic Club awards for his agency.
Wow.
But he just recently, so one of his dreams was to he's from the Ukraine, and one of his dreams was to come visit the United States as a kid. Like that was one of his dreams. He's actually been here twice now, and he came. We actually just I've been coaching him for a few years now, and
Mm-hmm.
he him, his wife, and son came and stayed at my house for a couple days, and that's what I really enjoy. Like getting to know my students. It's a relationship that's going to be prefer for me, I hope, a long-term relationship, and just seeing
Hmm.
how I'm able to change other people's lives from my information. And that was the whole goal of my company, Mentorrupted, to mentor people. So, and my next big goal is to get my students
Hmm.
to 8 figures a year. So 10 million a year, which is roughly $1 million a month. That's what we're working on now. It also helps me level up my skills, and I believe I have no doubt that I can help them get to that goal. I just need the right people to listen to me and keep pushing. So, yeah, that would be my next big goal.
Wow, that's amazing, Mark. You can really kind of feel the impact you're creating in your students' life, and that's very very insightful, brother. Let's get to the next question. Especially as an entrepreneur, you never consider the mistakes you've done as mistakes. You always take them into a learning perspective. But just if
Hmm.
you want to point them out and say, hey, I wish I had done this differently, what would that look like? Like, what was the biggest mistake in your life so far?
Procrastinating, putting things off too long. Like I said earlier, like take action faster. That's probably, just for instance, moving to Florida. So me and my
Hmm.
wife wanted to move to Florida for 5 years, and I finally took the action. As soon as after on the fifth year, I said, okay, we're going to move to Florida. We all agreed. Like my daughter at the time, my wife, I said, you guys want to move, right? And they said, yes. And we always would put it off till summertime. And by the time summer came, I didn't want to move because I put time in it. So I said, how about we move there for 1 year? If we don't like it, we'll come back. And they agreed. I said, okay, you agree? Instantly that day, I booked my brother's flight. The next day, I think it was the next day, I put 10,000 down on a house that we rented when we first moved here because we didn't know the area.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I didn't procrastinate anymore. I didn't say summer. I said tomorrow. Like actually, I said today. So I booked the flight that day, and then the next day I put a deposit down, and then I just kept taking action. It locked us in. So that it's like taking action before, like once you commit, just commit and then figure it out after that. And it's been the best decision ever. Absolutely, I live in paradise now, and it's motivating every day. I wake up to a beautiful view. I'm able to go. It's just the perfect life, honestly. So take action.
Yeah, and I believe you need that motivation like every day kind of and reasons to wake up, right? And that's really powerful. I think this can really hit a lot of people. Like, most of the entrepreneurs commonly have this procrastination problem that
Hmm.
they want to do something, they note that down, they have that on their wall, but it's like, oh, I'm gonna do it at XYZ date. But when the date comes, it's been like pushed once again for the
Hmm.
next week or the coming month, right? So I think they just need to go and consistently attack that thing they wanted to get done, and that would really get them much more progress.
I,
Appreciate that, Mark.
yeah.
So let's get to the next question, brother. This will be very fun to answer.
Okay.
Right now, with your current mindset, if you would start all over again, no awards, no students, no e-commerce experience, like
Good
all
question.
of like your name is literally changed from Mark Hager to something else.
Yep.
How would you do it differently? Like how would you actually come back again if you
Yeah.
start all over again?
Like if I didn't have any skills at all, or do I still have my
No, no,
skills?
you definitely have the skills and the mindset and everything. It's just like your name and brand and the awards and everything you built on your name is gone. So how
Okay.
would you do it differently?
Yeah, because I've done this for many of my students. They start from nothing. So I would focus on building a team. You know that right
Uh-huh.
away. I would First thing I would do is build an organic team. If you're completely broke, I would start building an organic team to start generating sales. Take those sales, take that profit, and invest into ads. Now, if you have a budget already, I already told you guys, I would start spending money on ads on Messenger or call booking. You still have to hire salespeople. I would not do it myself. Even if I have the skill and I'm great at sales, I still would hire somebody else and teach them or work with them to make the sales. I would not do any of it. So
Hmm.
almost in every single business I've ever started, I started out doing, especially my first business that was successful. I did every single thing from customer service, shipping, all that. I would not do any of that anymore. I would instantly, as any company I ever start in the future has nothing to do with me personally. I would not do any of the work. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that brings back to the next question, brother. This is like one of the reasons, like you kind of really delegated a lot of stuff and got back all of your time is because you build like this huge team of A players. I mean, especially as an agency, right? I'm just thinking about like a scenario, like you actually onboard, let's say a 5-figure client, and then you're delegating that to a new teammate and you're not sure like how that teammate's going to perform, right? So you really need A players in that situation. You cannot delegate to like newbies who don't know what they're doing because the client get pissed off, once they start, right? So how did you actually find and sell them on the vision to work with you on this journey of actually building a successful agency? Like how did you build that team?
Well, that's what you want to do is you want to tell them your goals and where you're trying to go because they got to be excited to be with you and have opportunity in the future. It's almost like they say like putting a carrot in front of the horse or whatever. You want to have a reason for them to want to stay and be motivated. And usually people are motivated by money. So if you're
Hmm.
brand new, you obviously can't pay a ton of money, but you can say, as we grow, I'll be able to give you raises. And um, matter of fact, some of my employees, the top uh, month of income was like up to 18,000. My top employee actually was making about 18
Wow.
grand a month. But they also ran the whole agency for me. They had a lot on their plate. They did a lot. Um, but building a team, I would have to say you need to get them on the same vision as what you're wanting to do. Otherwise, they're just
Mm-hmm.
going to die out. They have really no reason. They're just going to come and go. So if you can get people and then micromanage at the beginning, you know, uh, really make sure that everybody that's coming on your team is fully committed. They don't have to be an expert, but they got to be able to be willing to listen and be coached on becoming really good. I don't expect everybody to be perfect out of the gate, but if they're willing to put in the work and they're willing to show up every day and they're willing to learn every day, you can make them great. So,
Yeah, I agree. Appreciate that, Mark. Thank you so much for that answer. So we would love to hear the next question is your main inspiration for success, like what really keeps you motivated and the key people involved in your journey personally.
yeah, that's going to be my two kids, my two daughters, and my wife. So, overall, my whole journey in this life, at least, is to make my kids financially free before I go, to make sure that they
Mm.
don't have to worry about an income. Um, and that's really where I'm focused at. I'm 40 now, and on the rest of my life is just pretty much acquiring assets for my kids, passive income, and my kids and my wife, because you never know when tomorrow. It might be tomorrow, it might be the last day. So that's really all I'm focused on at this point, and and leaving a legacy with helping people change their lives. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy the coaching part. I take it very seriously, and
Yeah.
I don't just take anybody that comes to me. Hey, can you coach me? Like, well, let me find out if you're a good fit because I'm looking for long term. To and do I think I can actually help them? Because if I don't think I can help them, I won't take them on. It'd be a waste of my time and a waste of their time. So yeah, I would have to say
Yeah.
my kids and my wife, and then my students because they're like family to me. So.
Wow, your perspective is much bigger, Mark. Appreciate you actually mentioning that. So, I mean, this brings back to our question here. So, I mean, a lot of great stuff. You've been actually specializing in helping agency owners scale to the roof, to the next level of business. So, where can our audience find you mentoring? Where they can actually get mentorupted?
Yeah, if you just you go on Instagram, it's CEO Minterrupted, CEO of Minterrupted. I'm mainly active on my Instagram, um, sometimes on my Facebook profile, my personal Facebook, and that'd be the best place, or minterrupted.com. Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, make sure to check out the description. I'll be adding all the links Mark is mentioning so that you can go and hit him up and scale your agency to the next level as well. And you can see his commitment for his students, and it's going to be a pretty amazing opportunity to see if you are a good fit for Mentorupted. That's going to be awesome. So awesome, awesome, Mark. And yeah, I think it was a pretty amazing podcast episode. You dropped a lot of golden nuggets. Any last word before we conclude the whole podcast today?
If you're trying to start an agency, um, I would build a team. That's really what I would tell you. If you're trying to go to seven figures, 100,000 or more a month, I would build a team. That's all I can tell you. That'd be the most important thing. Build a team that
Yeah.
wants you to go, that wants, they want to go bigger, they want to make more money, and and focus on becoming the best at what you do. That's what I would do.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome piece of advice, Mark. Appreciate that. That's a really big advice. I think a lot of agency owners try to hold all the pie themselves and,
Mm-hmm.
kind of really try to do everything themselves. But it's about like the delegation, like mastering that delegation, being
Mm-hmm.
happy with the 50% you're going to be making is the real goal, I believe. Once again, Mark, this was an amazing opportunity. Thank you so much. It was definitely a great experience having you on our podcast. And thank you so much for the golden nuggets you have dropped from your experience of already doing several multiple seven figures in different businesses at the same time, unlocking how you have helped your students coach and scale to that seven figure level. Appreciate that. And guys, hope you actually enjoyed the podcast session so far. So make sure to actually check the description to message Mark on Facebook or Instagram, or check out mentorupted.com to get mentorship from Mark. And I think that's it for today, guys. Stay tuned for the next interview. I'll be back with another amazing two comma club winner, just like Mark, and we will rock the show once again. Thank you so much. Peace. This is Mehdi Nikhil Sai and Mark Hagar signing off for today. Bye bye.
See ya.